All right, so allow me to introduce you our special guest here, Francisco Colosanto from Mexico. And it's our pleasure to have you here with us. So I would like to give you the word and let us begin.
Okay, so thank you very much. And hopefully I will give this talk in my not so good English, but hopefully you will understand. If not, let me know. So I will present here. So the person that are there, they are students, no? The position students, or yes, the position students. Okay, and I don't know if you, just to know, you use things like Macs or things like that. I mean, this kind of technology, or
yes.
I mean, they know something about that. Yeah.
Yes, Macs
okay.
Pure Data.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, my work. I'm a composer that I was born in Argentina, but I came here to live in Mexico like 15 years ago, because we started here a center called CEMAS, that means Mexican Center for Music and Sonic Arts, and this is a center where we yeah, it's just for the production of music, researching. We have some courses. We have a lot of activity, concerts, residencies. So we have a lot of activities around music and technology. And yeah, the person that started this place is called Rodrigo Sigal. I met him in Argentina, and he invited me to come here. So here I am, 15 years later. And I'm very happy because we can do quite a lot of things, and even, I mean, even more, we started a new career here at the university, at the UNAM. UNAM is the University of Mexico, and UNAM has a lot of campuses in different cities. And one city is this one called Morelia, and so here we are, and so here we have a special career in music and technology. So it's quite nice. So and in Argentina, I started. I always composed music, mostly for mixed media, no. So for instruments and electronics, or instruments and tape, no. Not so much electroacoustic music, you know, only tape music, let's say, but mostly for instrument and computer. So yeah, I work a lot with instruments, and mostly for solo instruments and electronic. And for example, I will share my screen and the sound. So for example, this is a piece I created in ZKM in Germany for this gigahertz award, and yes, it's a piece for piano and electronics, and I use mostly, I don't know if you know that place, this ZKM place, but there they have this dome of sound, like 48 speakers, and this piece is created for that kind of system. So here is the version, stereo version, no? Can you hear? Okay. Okay. So you can see here or you can hear here that I like very much to work with rhythms, no, and things like that. So some kind of harmonic content, and yeah, and in this case, this piece was premiered there. And for example, this another one is based on, again, very rhythmical piece based on folkloric music from Argentina called Malambo. And this one, okay, so yeah, no, this kind of things I worked a lot. I mean, these two pieces are for piano, but I have no, for other instruments. So yeah, and but after a while, I started to want to play myself live, and I started to play more like, let's say, electronic music, no, more. Yeah, not that much, much contemporary music, but a mixture between contemporary music and electronic music. So, and I started to play. I played a lot with an instrument called harp. Is this instrument? It's an instrument that was created in UK. And is this one? This one is like a stick, no, or something like that, no, or is, but it has all these buttons, and you can use it to have different notes. But you can use this movement too, the X movement and the Y movement, and you have these percussive keys here, so it's an interesting instrument. So I played quite a lot with these instruments live. So, but another thing that I worked a lot is with algorithmic composition, with algorithmic process. So I created a system to compose with algorithmic process. And I create this for my PhD. So I will present you this work. Can you see this? It's okay?
Yes.
Okay. So this is my work. The name is Amy. In Spanish is Herramienta para la composición algorítmica y clasificación de datos. That means a tool for algorithmic composition and data classification. And this, I mean, as I show you, I composed quite a lot using algorithmic processes. Or I didn't show you that, but I can tell you that I was always interested in this kind of algorithmic processes. So this is some pieces of mine. Okay. This is a piece for contrabass clarinet. Okay, so I worked with this kind of algorithmic processes a lot, but I want to create a system that doesn't look like this. No, so it's a system that everybody can use it, even if you are not a person specialist in mathematics or or software. No, so I wanted to create a system that is not like that formula. No, it's something more simple. No. So but sometimes I understood that when you use these algorithmic composition systems, you have something like this, no? So in the sense that you can generate a lot of data, a lot of music, but sometimes you cannot understand how to relate that data, no? So for me, that was always my concern, no? In the sense that, okay, I can create, like strings and strings of data, of music, rhythms, so blah, blah, but okay, but how can I connect all this data? No? So how can I have something like this? No, something tidy. No, so my idea was to create a tool. Let me move this. Okay, wait a second. I need to move this here. Okay. Okay, so my idea was to create a tool that is capable of generating symbolic musical data, and classifying that data. So that is important for me, the classification of the data, but implemented in a friendly environment, and where it's not necessary for the user to be an expert in mathematics or programming. No, that's the idea. So my goal was to create this tool using Max for Live to generate some kind of profiles using these algorithmic processes, and after that to use these profiles to map those profiles with pitches, with rhythm, and with the dynamics, and after that classify all that. So here the important words are generation and classification. So the structure of my work is to have, I have this generator system that uses these algorithms, and after that I will classify this generation, and to classify that I need to analyze the data I created. Everything is implemented in Max for Live. So the idea here is sometimes you can ask what for, no? In the sense that why you are going to use this kind of algorithmic process. And the most important thing is, can you hear this algorithmic process? If you use, let's say, logistic chaos, or you use I don't know, congruential chaos, or you use some kind of machine learning or something like that, can you tell the difference between them? No? And for me, the answer is that reading this composer, Laurie Spiegel, she says something that for me is very clear in that sense, that she says that the use of these algorithmic processes could be, you can use it for different goals, no? One is to use it as illusion, so to simulate some events, no, more like the perception of the process than the exact replica. So you can hear that you have some kind of process, some kind of form from that kind of algorithms, but you don't necessarily you don't have to listen to the specific algorithmic, but some kind of shape, no? Reverse analysis, I'm not using this, but this is the way that when you use algorithmic composition to apply certain rules and to try to compose like some composer or some style, no? So let's say that you can create something that compose in the style of Bach, I don't know, and you use that to create that kind of music. But I'm not using this approach. Is it to implement using a set of code rules, data generators designed to be cognitively meaningful or understandable. So yeah, it's the other way, no? So you use this is similar to the first one. So you can create something that you understand, or you think that it has some internal structure created from some kind of algorithmic process. Okay, this is to create some natural phenomenon. This is like more like the sonification, no? But again, I'm not using this. And yeah, and this is again more like sonification, so you can use non-musical data to use it inside the composition, or a mixture of all of that, no? So, but of course that there is some software that they are created to do some algorithmic composition. For example, OpenMusic, it's a very well-known software from IRCAM, and it's a free software, and it's very good. It has a lot of libraries and things to compose. But again, for me, I'm not creating something that competes with this, because my thing is smaller, no? But again, this software for me, OpenMusic, is software that you need to know something about, you know, programming and mathematics and things like that to use it. And the same thing is with Opus Modus. That is a very good software too, but it's quite complicated for the composer that don't know nothing about, you know, in this case, Lisp or something like that, no? Some kind of language. So in this case, I'm using Max and Live, and this link between them, that is Max for Live. And why I'm using this? Because it has some advantage and some disadvantage. For example, the cons, I mean, the disadvantage of this is that it's a commercial software. So yeah, you have to buy it to use it. No, that's, I mean, probably it could be better if you use something more like PD or something like this around a free software. But for me, I use Max since 1998, so I know very well that software. So for me, the advantages are a lot. For example, that this software is very popular, so there is a lot of people that use this live, Ableton Live, for a lot of different music. There is a big community. The documentation is very good. For example, in this case, there is a problem, for example, with OpenMusic. Here comes OpenMusic is a software that it has a very poor documentation, but Max and Live are very, very well documented. The development of the software is very good. The stability to play live is very good. It's multi-platform, so you can use it in Mac and PC. So for me, it has a lot of advantage. So I found some other tools created in Max for Live in the web, but there is no, for me, tools like the thing that I created. Of course, I tried a lot of different interfaces and ideas to have this the last version, and the last version is this one. I will show you later how it works. So this version, it has an editor, no? So when you go to this editor, you open this window, and here you have the green part, that is the pitch part. The central, the blue one is the rhythms, and the other one is the dynamics. So here, for example, when you want to work with pitches, here you can use notes, and of course, the system is a temporary system. I mean, you cannot use a quarter note or things like that, but it's possible to create a system like that, and it's possible I can manage to modify my software to use a quarter note, for example. But I couldn't do it yet, but I will do it someday. So here you can choose the notes using the keyboard, or you can use this like 12-tone circle, or you can use pitch classes from Alan Forte, or you can use different roots. So you can invert the notes. So you can use different ways to choose notes. And in this case, you can use the octave you are going to use. Okay. And after that, you can choose an algorithm, and you can generate a profile. No, you see this profile there, and so you are going to use the nodes to map that profile. No, and after that, you can generate a score. In the case of rhythms and dynamics, it's the same thing. You know, you use a similar process. So in this case, I'm using this kind of generators. I'm using L systems, chaotic systems, random, genetics, and cellular automata. I will show you a little bit of each one. This is some of the authors that use this kind of systems. And L system is a set of rules and symbols primarily used to model the growth process of plants. So it imitates how to plants grow. So here you see this is like you have different branches, so it's like you have this kind of form or this kind of structure based on this idea. Okay. Chaotic systems, chaos, you can explain chaos saying that this is a system that is not random, but it's a system that with I mean, if you put the same information in the input, you will have the same information in the output. But if you put a slightly different information, you can have a totally different output. No, that's the idea of the chaos. So, but in chaos you have you produce an orbit that is dynamical and it's aperiodic. So you have the same loop all the time, but you don't go to the infinite. So it's delimited orbit. Now, so you have some conditions to have a chaotic system. So, for example, here this formula is for a type of chaos called logistic. And in this case, for example, if I use this input to this formula, so R is equal to 3.2 and X starts in 0.2. If I do that, I have this result, you see? So here, this is not a chaotic system because I always have two different values here. But if I start with a different number, not 0.2, but 0.21, I have the same result. So this is not a chaotic system. But here, if I use other numbers, for example, 3.92, I have this result using 0.2 as input. And if I input something slightly different, 0.201, I have a different result. So in this case, this is a chaotic system. So in this kind of system, the logistic chaotic system, it depends of the number of error. If error is near 4, it's a chaotic system. If it's not near 4, it may, if it's less than 3, let's say, it's not chaotic system. So here you can see that in this graphic, this is a graphic called this graphic. I remember the name of the graphic, but you can see in this graphic that when I go towards 4, the system starts to bifurcate, and to have more different possibilities, no? And at the end is chaotic. Random system, that of course is like a process with the result is random. In this case, I cannot know which is the result. But for example, we can use this kind of random. This is random walk. So this is a random that only goes electronically one step forward or one step back, no? So this is random, but the shape that we obtain here is quite interesting. Genetic algorithms where you use chromosomes and survival and all this kind of data to manipulate information. Here you use the system to create, like, you know, some like genes, no, like, and you can cross them and you can mutate them, and can use it in a lot of ways to create new, let's say, descendants, no, of the parents. And this automata, that is a system that you use starting point of rules, and from there you can evolve the system to have this kind of structures, no? So using all these things, I generate data, but after that I need to classify the data. So because I want to classify it, I need to analyze that. I need to analyze the data. So in this case, this system analyzes all the data, and after that, I'm using to analyze. I'm using these different approaches: standard deviation, entropy, n-grams. I mean, different things, and with all this analysis, I create this kind of Cartesian. How we call that? This graphic where you have different distances between the different clips generated from the data that you are using to classify, no, this information. So, for example, in communication theory, the level of randomness of or noise of a system, it's called entropy, no? So, for example, in this case, I can classify different things I generated from the different amount of entropy that every every part it has. So that means that two different melodies, or two different group of notes, they can have, let's say, the same entropy, but that doesn't mean that they are equal, you know? I mean, this kind of classification is not a classification that tries to find equal things, but this is a classification that tries to find things that are related in some way. So in this case, for example, if I have two melodies that they have the same entropy, probably they could be very different as a melody, but they have the same level of randomness, let's say. So for example, in this case, I have this. Okay, and when I analyze this, it says that the first two, they have the same amount of entropy, and the last one is different. So for this classification, these first two melodies, or they are not melodies, but this group of notes, they are similar, no? So with all this data, I need to find which clip or yes, I'm using the word clip because in live I can store all the data in clips. So I need to find which clip is the most the nearest neighbor, no? So I use the nearest neighbor to find which clip is more similar, no? Okay. So this is the part of the tool where I can classify data. And let me show you how it works now. So here I have this a little live now, and here I put this tool called Amy, and so here I can open the editor, and okay, so here I can first of all, or yes, if I want, I can select the notes. I can select any note I want, or I can use different scales, for example, or I can use pitch class fourth style. So for example, 4, 5, and I have that pitch class, no? Or I can invert it, or I can use a subset of that. So I can use a lot of ways to think the structure of the pitch, no? So for example, I will choose here actually like this, and after that I will choose the system to create this profile. So here I have L system, as I told you, L system, chaotic, aleatoric, genetic, and cellular automata. So for example, if I use chaotic system, I can choose the 1D, or chaotic system of one dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimension. So 1 dimension, okay, congruential, I don't know, it's 1. So now I can modify here the numbers or the parameters of that chaotic system. So if I use another one, for example, this one, I have other parameters here. But if I use, for example, this one, I can have this. Okay. So now I can say, okay, I want to have from this octave to this octave, and I can listen to this. Okay, let's say that I like that. Now I will use a similar system to generate rhythms. So again, I will use, let's say, aleatoric in this case, and random walk, and I will generate this. Okay, and I will use some kind of, some amount of silence here. Okay, let's say I use that and some dynamics. Okay, so now I can write all this data here. You see, I have the rhythms right down here in this score. So now I can listen to that. Okay, so for example, if I like that, I can save that I can choose one of the tracks, I put it here. Let's say I will use the second track, and I say the first slot. So I push right, and now I have it here. So now it's a MIDI clip. I can use this any way I want, and I can play this. Okay, well, yes, I don't have any sound because I need to put an instrument there. So let's use this one. Okay. 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 So now I will do the same thing a couple of times so I can show you the classification. So now I will, let's say, use yeah, a different chaotic map. Here, for example, we'll use this one. Okay, and a different rhythm. Okay. Okay, I will say this slot 2. Again, I will do it again. Another kind of generator. Okay, and I will create a last one. Last one. Okay, so now I generated 4 things, but let's say that I generate a lot more, let's say 100, I don't know. So now, because I only have 4, this is now is easy because I mean I can listen to these different clips and I can classify them by year. But let's say that we have 200 of these, so it's more difficult to know how to relate all this data I generated. So now I can use this part and say, okay, I want to classify the things that are in the second track, okay, and I want to use the entropy of the pitch and let's say the chronotonic measure of the rhythm. I want to classify 4 of them. And now you see, when I push this, the system tells me that if I choose this one is the more similar to this one. After that, this one, and after that, this one. So the system tells me or gives me some kind of classification, you know, some kind of order. And this is the same thing for all the tracks. So I can classify things even between tracks. So I can say that, for example, a clip here is more similar with the clip here and a clip here. So after that, I can use this classification as I want. I mean, I can copy this and paste it here in this part, or I can export this as a MIDI clip and I can use it in our software, no? So, for example, in this case, I have 2 examples here. I created with this, I created an example more like electronic thing using live. Check. So I created a more electronic thing. We are going to listen to this. I think that is this one. So here in this case, I'm using this system to generate mostly like rhythms using drums and bass and things like that, no? Of course, that is a MIDI maquette. No, it's not a music to use like that. No, it's only something created here as an example. And here I have another example that I created, but in this case it's different. In this case, I exported the data, the data from the batch, from the live using, you know, MIDI, and I put that data inside Finale, and inside Finale I modified some things. Not the structure and not the notes, but I modified mostly the articulation of everything. So in this case, I created this kind of Pierrot, you know, ensemble, and I have this. Okay, so I created that example using this system. So, do you have any questions now after this?
Okay, so I'll probably be the one to have a questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much for presenting this part.
No, yeah, I have more things to show you, but I know if you want to. Okay, yeah.
And I just have a question about the classification itself.
Uh-huh.
Because there are some kind of classification based on the hard data, probably just like a pitch sequences, like arrays and stuff like that, right?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Do you do any kind of semantic classifications, or is it just based upon the rhythmical similarities and basically it's some kind of array analysis?
Yeah, not yet, not yet. I want to. I mean, I created a system in a way that is very modular, you know, so it's very easy to add more things. So yes, my idea is to have some semantic classification too, and add some other kind of things. For example, I couldn't apply, for example, generators that use some kind of constraints or things like that. So I want to use that too, but I need, I mean, because this was for my PhD, I needed to, you know, to have some limit, no, to finish. So because of that, I couldn't implement everything. But yeah, I will, not now, but it will have. That is my answer.
Thank you very much for the answer. No. And the other question is if you ever considered using GPT-3 for the classification.
What?
GPT-3.
EPD3?
GPT-3 algorithm.
I don't know what is that.
Okay, so never mind.
What?
Yeah, it's semantic classification used for natural language and for music.
Ah.
Which is basically a very interesting thing, which could probably benefit this project a bit. But that was just a question. Thank you, and I think.
Yeah, I will. Okay. Yeah, but I will write down that, and I will check it. Yeah. GPT-3. Okay. Okay. So so how I want to use this. So let me show you a little bit now the kind of music I'm doing now. So I have this project called Dr. Sopa. This is my web page. Yes, Dr. Sopa, and this is you know, it's like yeah, like a different kind of project, and the name comes a little bit from Frank Zappa, And the idea is I'm using here a lot of analog and modular synthesis to work and to create music. And in this case, I have this this project, and the kind of music here is different. But so if you want to check this music, you can go to Spotify and you can put here Dr. Sopa. And for example, I have this kind of music. Okay, so in this case, I use this kind of tools to create mostly this part of bass and bass drum, no? So here I have this sequence. Listen to the bass drum. No, sorry, it starts with the bass. So the bass starts to create in a kind of rhythm, and the bass drum imitates that rhythm a little bit later, like a canon. No, so so I'm using this kind of algorithmic process to create this kind of music now, and I use mostly this kind of setup here. I don't know if you know this web page called Modular Grid. That is a web page where you can find all. I mean, it's a database of modular systems. No, here you have like aero rack systems, or more like a Bucla, or this different kind of systems. And in this case, I have this. I have in my studio. Let me check where it is here. Okay, I have this set up in my studio. Just you can see here, and then other things. No, this is one of my setups. But here I have it. This synthesizer that is a Moog mini tower that is very good for bass sound. I love it. I use it very much, and other kind of analog synthesizers, Moog Mother, two Moog Mothers. Here is a Doppler quadraphonic system, and blah blah blah. But to control all of this, I have this other system, this small one, that has mostly these expert sleepers cards that are, I don't know if you know these cards, but these cards are, this works as an audio card. So you can plug it using a USB cable. And now here I have like 16 outputs and 12 inputs, audio and clock and gate and controller and MIDI. So I can connect all my synthesizers to this system, and I can use this algorithmic process to control my system. No, so I like to work very much with that. No, so like it's like you know, using, because the idea here is that with these algorithmic processes, sometimes things are too stiff, too you know, too, let's say, cerebral, no? So to mathematic system. So I like to generate data and manipulate the sounds, you know, more in a more musical way, no? So I like to generate information, and after that start to play with all these capabilities of all these sounds to create something interesting, some timbres that I like, no? So that is the part that is not that mathematical, no? So and with this I control all of that, and I play sometimes live with all that system, but mostly no, and I use only this small system to, I mean, I have everything recorded and I manipulate things in real time, but because traveling with this, with all these modules is a pain in the ass. So, and I use live this other system that is this Cyclops to plot this kind of mathematical data using a laser projector. So I can use I use a laser projector live, and I can create some. I don't know if I can show you that. Let me check. Probably will be difficult to show, but I created some tools for Macs to work with lasers. No, so let me check if I have it here. Okay, so I have this here, and this is only like a monitor, not to check the shapes I can create with my laser. My machine is a quite big machine, but this once start to be hot is a problem. I don't know why it's taking so much time. Yeah, and sometimes Zoom and these kind of applications are not so friendly. Okay, now it looks okay. So I created these kind of things. So for example, I have this projector, and I have, for example, these. Okay. So I'm sending from here, I'm sending audio information, but that audio information, when you send it through the audio card, you can use this kind of protocol called ILDA system, and you can convert that data that's electricity data, no, the data that comes from the audio card. You can send it to a laser projector, and you can control the laser. So these patches here, these tools, they send audio. But for example, if I do something very easy, for example, I send this here, and I will connect it with this software internally, if my machine allows me to do it. So for example, I will send it to a black hole. Black hole. Okay. Okay, so now I have that, this very simple thing, and I don't know why this is not. Black hole is okay, it's coming. Probably I need to send it through different output. Let me check. Okay. Okay. I don't know why here is input is coming here, but it's not being enough. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why it's not working, but the thing is that you can see here the results, something like that. So now I can create, I mean, this is a very silly shape, it's a circle, but I can start to work with these shapes, and I can start to control different models with other models. For example, I can use another model here. Let's say, for example, this one. And I control something here, for example, this. And now you see, I can create, I mean, this is very silly shapes, but I need to show this using the projector and the laser. But the idea is that I can use all this data to send that audio data to the laser projector, and I can project a lot of different, let's say, mathematical functions, no? And for me, it's quite interesting to work like that. So, and yeah, so when I play live, I use these kind of things. I use my instrument, this that I showed you, this called Eigenharp, and I try to use this laser projector. So yeah, I try to combine all this kind of technology, you know. And these things, these models, I created those, but I can share it with you if you want, and you can try it and you can use it with a laser or with a video. So because you can use this kind of software, for example, this Pretty-Scope, that is a software that it plots the things that you are sending here. I don't know why it's not working. It's very strange. But it has to work. I don't know why it's not working now. Let me open it again, just in case. No, I don't know. Okay, but you can use different software to plot this data and to create, for me, quite interesting video results. So yeah, this is my work now these days. So if you have any questions or anything else you want to know. Let me.
Okay, I have one more question then. My question is, how much of your work is algorithmic and how much do you go over it and apply the composer's view, which means that how much, what is the ratio between the generated and then basically composed material?
Yeah. For me, the algorithmic part is only a way to generate data that you can modify the data any way you want. So I use that data as a calculator, no? So I never use the algorithms, let's say, that as it is, no? So I never copy and paste the algorithm. So I use that as a start point to work, and I modify. So if the algorithm tells me that I need to use that or those nodes, but I don't like it, I change everything. So for me, the algorithmic composition is not something like a automatic composition, no, something like that. But it's a system to do easily some things that you can do it anyway in other ways, but you need more time to do it. No? So for example, let's say that you want to have, I don't know, you want to create something for a score for an orchestra, and you want to have a lot of violins playing different pitches, but I don't know, that the nearest violins, they don't play the same note, but something that is very close, and some, I don't know, some ideas like that, no? So and you want to play as fast as they can, blah blah blah. Okay, you can write down all of that things, or you can use some kind of special notation or blah blah blah. But you can use algorithmic composition to say, okay, generate me, I don't know, 200 notes in that with that kind of shape, with that pitch, blah blah blah. And you can use that as a, like a calculator, no? And after that, you use that in a score, and you start to change everything if you want, no? But the idea is is other way to think is that the algorithm process is a way to start with idea without the bias, without the you know, without using the typical ideas that you always use, you know. So when you start to compose, sometimes you have some things that you always do. But if you start with this algorithm process, sometimes you have this new, you have this new starting point that is totally different, no? And from there you start to create something. I don't know if I explained myself. No, yeah. That is the idea. So, but the thing is that, yeah, I because I don't like very much this kind of, you know, cold algorithmic mathematical things. I try to do that, and I use a lot this modular system, these synthesizers, to modify the timbre, to modify the, you know, the different aspects of the sound, and in a more musical way, you know, not thinking rationally, but, you know, starting to play with different things and create things, no, create different things. So that's the idea, no. Because of that, for example, I like very much to use a synthesizer that it's a synthesizer. I think that they is from Russia. It calls Lira 8, and that synthesizer is a synthesizer that is impossible to tune, and everything is modulated with everything. So it's more to create, like, you know, like atmospheres, or to create tones that. And I like very much to work with that too. That it's not, you know, you can never have the same result, no. So this, I like to work with these two worlds, not these two ideas, all the time. Okay.
One question.
Mm-hmm.
To hear some excerpt of some orchestral pieces with using of algorithmic composition, prepared or not?
Mine?
Yeah.
I only have one. I only have one orchestra, but that is a very, very bad recording, and a very old one. But I can. But in fact, I create. I mean, it's a very old piece. So probably it's a little silly in one way, but in fact, it's a piece that I created entirely using algorithmic process, no? And I created that piece using open music in those days. So let me check if I have it here. Well, this is the score, but the here probably. Okay. Okay, I don't know how much of the piece I have here, but yeah, is this one? It's a very bad recording.
forzoso e impenetrable a estaca, luz o palabra. Impenetrable. Nada. Abstracción, carente hasta de vacío. Nada. Perdurar y retener. Conceptos constantes. Abismo controlado. Uno.
So here I have it, yeah, because I remember now that there was this actor reciting this poet's poetry, and and there was a chorus too. I mean, it was a very big thing, and but it's the recording is very bad, very bad. So you can, yeah. So yeah, but that shows that I was very interested in these things 20 years ago too. So no, that's the idea. Okay. So if you have any other question, or yeah, we can finish if you want.
Play a piece which is really successful from your point of view.
Sorry.
Yeah, I will just basically translate this the same or reinterpret the same. If you have some kind of referential piece of yours with something which you think this is something like from the some of your highlights, that we can have some nice closing of this talk. If you have some,
yeah, for example, this piece baile. This piece is a piece for contrabass, clarinet, and electronics. No, contrabass, clarinet. Baile, it means in Spanish. In English it means dance. No, baile. So let's hear this. I created this piece with a clarinetist in Argentina, but I think that it's a quite good piece. And I can share with you the score here. Okay. Let me. Well, okay, I can play it from here. Yeah, but I cannot show you the score and the other thing, but here I notated all the electronic part and all the instrument part. No, so yeah, let's hear it. Okay. So yeah, that's piece. This instrument, this bass clarinet instrument, is very cool because it has this very low range that is very interesting, and these multiphonic sounds. So yeah.
Thank you very much for this very interesting piece. I have only one question. All the electronic sounds are some transformations of clarinet sounds? Only,
no, not so only some of them. So I created a lot of sounds using the keys of the clarinet. You see, recorded all the keys, and some of the keys are played live, and some are in the tape part. But for the keys, the keys of clarinet, I created in Max a system to trigger them in some algorithmic way, you know. But the other sounds is mostly like electronic sounds created for me, you know. Some very cheesy sounds. Like no distorted kind of, you know, yeah. So it's but mostly it's not clarinet sounds. The tape part, only the keys, let's say. But I use a lot this characteristic of this instrument, that it has this multiphonics that sounds like you know, an elephant dying, and I use that with processing real time, using some delays and some flangers and like that to create this, you know, like chaotic finale, no? That's the idea.
So, some questions, please.
You can ask me about tequila or something else if you want, not about music. About Mexico, I don't know. Well, in fact, if you want, to finish this talk, in fact, if you want to, I mean, kidding, no kidding, I mean, you can enter to this place, our web page, that is, I will share here. Is this cemas.org? I don't know if it's clear there. Yeah, probably cemas.org, and here in I mean, now we have all this pandemic situation, but we are hopefully almost finishing, and we have residencies and stuff like that. So and there is some kind of yeah, Mexico has some programs to come here to do some kind of residency. So you can apply to do that here in Mexico at CEMAS. Probably next year. Not, I mean, this year is almost finished, but so and if you want to know more about this place and the things that what we do, we have another one. This is cemas.com too, and there we have more like a place where we have books and things like that. Mostly of them are in Spanish or in English, of course. And if you want to check some of my music, you can check drsopa.com. I mean, that kind of music, that more electronic things I'm doing. So yeah, that's all.
Can I have a question?
Yeah, of course.
Hello. I just wonder if there is some like algorithm in your composition, like in the concept.
Yeah, the concept of the algorithm, you say? Yeah, the thing is that I like to generate things that the idea is that the result is something that is at the same time predictable and not predictable, no? So it has some kind of loops of data, but that all the time is different, no? So I always try to find these algorithms that generates me this kind of starting point, let's say, to start to work. I never use this idea of, an algorithm thinking of, I don't know, something more esoterical or something like that. I'm not using that. But for me, the algorithms is a way to, as I told you, is a way to, like a starting point, no? So let's say I start to try different things, and I say, okay, this sounds good, and like this, and because it has, and I try to explore that algorithm, it's more like in that way, more like a musical way, that I try to use the algorithms as something to start, to work. So yeah, but at least at this point, I don't know, probably if I will do it, will I use it in other ways. And there is a lot of things that I want to add to my system. As I told you, my system is not that big because I needed to finish my PhD and I need to finish the tool. But yeah, for example, this kind of semantic things, or this, I never checked. In fact, I didn't know that the thing that you told me, because I went to other ways, So yeah, there is a lot of things that I want to research about that. So, but the tool, it will be free and open to use it as soon as I finish to debug it and I have everything ready. So yeah, you can try it for you if you want. If you have Ableton Live, the only thing is that you need to have Live to use it. This is the problem, no? But if you have it, you can use it.
Okay, thank you very much. Sadly, our time with you is over, but
Okay.
I have a question, the last one. Can we use this recording and put it online? Would you approve that?
Of course, yeah.
So
yeah.
Thank you very much again for waking up early for us.
No,
and
thank you. And I only been once in Czech Republic, of course, in Prague, and it's a wonderful place. So very, very strong and good food. So thank you very much, and hopefully I can go again someday to visit Prague or Czech Republic again. So thank you very much.